All right, everyone, good afternoon. Welcome to the Atlantic 10 Men's Basketball Championship. Today we have the LaSalle Explorers, led by head coach Ashley Howard. To his left, we have redshirt senior Clifton Moore, and to his left, redshirt junior Jack Clark. We will start with an opening statement by head coach Howard, move on to questions for the student athletes. We will then dismiss them and have questions for head coach Howard. Coach?
Proud of our guys. They battled and withstood a St. Joe's run that started at the end of the first half and then carried on pretty much throughout the entire second half. They battled. Hats off to Billy and his team. Obviously, I'm really proud of our guys, especially Cliff and Jack here. They did a lot of great things for us on the floor. I thought our defensive effort and intensity was really good. Throughout the course of the game, we got stops and rebounds, and Cliff had some huge blocks down the stretch just to sort of kind of put the game out of reach. So just hats off to St. Joe's and Billy, and proud of our guys and glad we get another opportunity to keep this run going.
All right, we're going to have questions for the student athletes. Please start with your name and affiliation, and raise your hand. We have 2 roaming mics. First down here in the front.
Coach, congratulations. Jacob Schwartz, voice report.
Thanks, voice.
First up, this is a two-parter. First of all, coming into today, I think all the mindset for Philadelphians had to be on a Big Five type of matchup. How do you justify that for the city of Philadelphia, knowing that, here we are miles away from home, playing, 2 teams from the same city playing in a conference that's had as much respect as this?
Jack, do you want to start?
Honestly, going into today's game, we were just feeding out the momentum of coming in on a 3-game winning streak. So, and us playing St. Joe's, a hometown rival, that was like a big way to cap off the regular season. So, just going into today's game, being prepared and all that was a really good thing for us today.
And the second question, there's been kind of the ups and downs. One of the big ups has to be former Penn State coach. I know you worked with him for many years, Pat Chambers. What has he brought since he arrived on campus?
Clifton, why don't you take this one?
I think he's done a good job of keeping us together and really learning. He's given me confidence as well as Coach Ash since they came in. I think he is a great leader, and he really helps us stay connected and focus on us.
All right, we're going to keep it here in the front.
Yeah, Manny Steiner, Philadelphia Inquirer. My question for both of you is, the first 10 minutes or so of the game, dominated offensively, 2-man game was working. Is that something a part of your offensive kind of approach heading into it, or does it seem to be like one of the things that was starting to groove at the beginning of the game?
Hey, Jack, you start.
That 2-man game between me and Cliff, we work on that a lot in practice, and it worked for us earlier in the season. So just continuing to do that throughout the first half and the second half really worked for us. So we can continue to do that throughout the whole game.
I feel like the biggest thing is just staying aggressive, both of us. And in that 2-man game, the defense has to pick and choose what they want to give up. And I think we do a good job of taking advantage of that.
Okay, we'll move back to the third row.
John Titel from HoopsHD.com for Jack. I believe you set a career high on Saturday with 30 points, and then you tied a career high today with 13 rebounds. Is this the best basketball you're playing in your life? And is it just a natural progression, or did you flip a switch to reach this level?
Honestly, right now, this is probably the best basketball I've played in my life. And honestly, it's just confidence from the players to the managers to the coaches. Just really working with me every day in practice, whether it's on the court, off the court, weight room, just confidence really. So that really is helping me, basically.
Down here in the front row.
Jack, you have been battling injuries pretty much most of your high school career and into college. It just seems for the first time in a long time, you have been in probably the best shape of your life. How are you feeling right now? Because I got to tell you, you looked like you were 15 out there when you grabbed a couple of those offensive rebounds. And what's the mindset as you get ready for St. Louis tomorrow?
Well, honestly, St. Louis is a physical team, so just going into practice and just going back to the hotel tonight, just being prepared mentally that they're a physical team and we just have to come tomorrow and just show that we're more physical than them.
Any more questions for the student athletes? All right, thank you, guys. You are dismissed. Okay, we're going to go and take questions for Coach Howard here in the second row.
Coach Sam Basil, House Enterprise. Your team today scored 11 points off turnovers and 11 points in the fast break. How much do you think controlling the tempo of this game really gave your team an advantage today?
You know what? Going into the game, we when I was watching our last game versus St. Joe's, obviously 49-48. So I anticipated that St. Joe's would do another really good job on the defensive end. So we wanted to make a point to get out and transition. Like, guys, we have to give ourselves a chance to get some easy baskets. And that was just out of respect for Billy and the job that he's done with his team on the defensive end. Like, the last couple games, they've been holding teams to, like, right at around, like, 50 points a game, right? So, getting stops, getting out in transition, giving ourselves opportunity to get some easy baskets was definitely a point of emphasis for us as we prepared for St. Joe.
We're going to keep it in the second row. Glenn?
Glenn Papazian with PhillyCollegeSports.com, and actually about 4.5 minutes to go, you had a back-to-back possession where Jack blocked a layup and Christian Ray made the three. Do you think that's what stabilized the team and helped you withstand that run?
That was a huge sequence, and we talk about it all the time. You got to be aggressive. You have to stick to the game plan, no matter what's going on. St. Joe's made a great run. I mean, they came out and really set the tone in the second half. That was an opportunity for them to really, take the lead and really completely take the momentum. And that possession right there was huge for us, where we were able to get that stop with Jack's block, and then, Christian, was able to knock down the three. It's a great pass by Anwar Gill. Anwar Gill had the defense loading to him, and he found C-Ray, and C-Ray, he hit a huge shot for us. So it was good for him to see him make that big play, great for Anwar to make the play, and for Jack to continue to stay focused on defending and rebounding late in the game when St. Joe's is making a run.
We're going to move into the first row. Manning?
Yeah, hey, Coach, you told us 1 week ago today, or 1 week ago, that, you couldn't beat a team. It's really hard to beat a team 3 times in the season. What was the one thing that you think was the reason why you were able to do that today?
Honestly, just having, it's like you talk about a Philly Big Five game, and we respect St. Joe's. We respect those guys, right? We played them twice, and they had us down 15 points in both games. So any team that can get you down 15, you have to respect them, right? So we had enough respect for them to come in and not just think that this was going to be an easy game. It's a Big Five game. It's a conference tournament, playoff game. And I think our guys, their preparation for the last couple of days, the humility that they had going into this game, I think that's what helped us.
Okay, we're moving to the second row. Daniel?
Hi, Coach. Daniel Frank from A10 Talk.
Hey, Daniel.
Charles Coleman had a career night for St. Joe's. He had 18 points, and he'd only in his entire career in 3 years made 2 threes and hit 4 tonight. How difficult is it to make an adjustment for a player that you probably didn't game plan for him hitting 4 threes?
We definitely did not, but you had to make adjustments, and I give Charles Coleman credit. Like, they lost Taylor Funk, and I felt that made them dangerous because, when you lose a good player like that, you automatically assume, like, all right, somebody else is going to step up, and Charles Coleman did that for St. Joe's today. He made some huge shots. He hit some big shots that really kept the game tight, right? Yeah, it was, he made some big shots. We didn't game plan for him to shoot 4 for 5 from 3, and we had to adjust, once he got it going.
Back to the third row.
John Titel from HoopsHD.com. Speaking of unexpected threes, Clifton, I believe, was 0 of 7 behind the arc versus St. Joe's this year, made 2 today. Has he done anything different to get it going today, and does he have the green light the rest of the week?
Well, considering that we didn't get opportunity to shoot in the Capital One Center before the game, we didn't do anything that we ordinarily would have done. But, I just think he's the hardest working guy that I've been around. He lives in the gym. And, at a certain point in time, a guy that works that hard, you get the reward. You get the opportunity, And today he took advantage of it. He shot the ball with confidence. He hit 2 huge threes for us. And even though he hadn't hit one against St. Joe, I mean, he's made some huge threes for us in other games in the past as well. And, we're so grateful that, he made that big shot late in the game for us today.
Any more questions for Coach Howard?
Coach, this is Ty Nice from the Hawk newspaper. You were able to limit Hall and Reynolds to combine 7 for 34 from the field today. What did you do to keep those guys kind of in check or at bay?
Well, obviously, we switched a lot of ball screens. I think both of those guys are really dynamic in ball screens. They can both shoot off the dribble, which is really, really hard to guard. So we just wanted to, take away their space, make every single shot a tough contested shot, and then understand that, these guys are good enough where they can make some challenging shots. They're both extremely talented offensive players, and I give our guys credit. I give Anwar and Jack and Khalil and Jig and J. Nick and C-Ray credit. They did a really good job of just staying attached to those two guys today and making every shot that they took a challenging one.
All right, we'll do one more. Jacob?
First of all, congratulations. I believe this is your first official A-10 victory, tournament victory, if I'm correct. Congratulations, sir.
Thanks, boys. Appreciate it.
And, moving forward, I know you've got a tough test ahead. I know St. Louis always brings the energy, rebounding, guard type of play. One of the preparations, obviously being this a 1 o'clock game, you've got a lot to kind of sort of power down and then kind of get ready for. Would you say that was definitely an advantage playing early today?
It's who knows? You know what I'm saying? I don't know whether it's an advantage or not. If we come out tomorrow and we make shots, then everybody's going to say, yo, it was an advantage. You got a chance to play in the arena before they did. You don't know. It's what makes this time of year, right? You expect the unexpected. The only thing I know is that we have an opportunity to play against a really good team in the conference tournament, and we're going to be ready. The last time we played St. Louis, they beat us up pretty good, and I let our team know about it in the locker room. So, we'll be prepared. I know they're a tough physical team with 2 great guards and a really, really, really physical and athletic front line, right? So we have to be ready. We'll try to rest up, make sure we have as much energy as we need to get out there and battle those guys tomorrow.
All right, thank you, Coach. We will see you tomorrow. The LaSalle Explorers will take on St. Louis at 2:30 p.m. right here in the A-10 Men's Basketball Championship.
Thanks, guys.
Good afternoon, everyone. We have the St. Joseph's Hawks with head coach Billy Lang. To his left, graduate student Eduke Obina. And to his left, redshirt sophomore Charles Coleman. We will open with a statement from head coach Lang, then move on to questions for the student athletes, dismiss them, and then have questions for Coach Lang. Coach?
Yep. Credit to LaSalle. They're playing really well right now. They've got quickness and feisty guards that are hard to go against. So that they've seemed to have found their way here in the last 2 weeks, and it's such a fine line between being able to win and being able to lose. So just give a credit to them. I'm proud of our team. What we've endured here for the last month with just so many games where we're right there. Whether trailing or leading or tied, I've coached for 27 years, and so I've seen a lot. Most teams in that setting don't compete the last week of the season. They don't. They just don't do it because their spirits are broken. One of the great things about St. Joe's University is everywhere you walk, it's THWND. It's the hawk will never die, and if you allow it, it becomes part of who you are. And so I feel like the guys grasped that. That was a big step for us this season. Every season is a journey. Some carry on to the next, some don't. I'm proud of this group for their endurance. I'm proud of this group for their spirit. I'm proud of this group for continuing to get better. And I do believe we were playing our best basketball here the last 3.5 weeks of the season. But there's a fine line, again, between being able to do that and then win. But that's not going to take away the competitive nature that I felt this group brought every night, whether it was on the road or at home. We were in every game. That's a big step from where we were prior. So you can't skip that step. And so, yeah, it's painful to lose in the moment. In the global part of it, I look at that and I'm just proud of these guys and encouraged if we can keep that going, which we will.
We will now take questions for the student athletes. Please start with your name, affiliation, and raise your hand, and I will identify you. Down here in the first row.
This is Ty Nice from the Hawk newspaper. Charles, you hit 4 threes tonight. You're obviously really hot out there. What was kind of going through your mind and what ultimately led to your success?
I mean, ultimately, it's just about trying to win the game. I mean, nothing in particular going through my mind, just focusing and making shots.
Yeah, Manning Snyder, Philadelphia Inquirer. Next season might be a little different for you guys. What are you trying to work on right now? Way too early, but to ask. But what are you working on for the off season? Looking forward to next season.
Charles, why don't you start?
For the most part, I mean, just getting back in the gym, especially as a team.
I think for me, I got to improve my blocking shot ability, and I think that's something that I could really take advantage of it because I play center. I feel like I should be blocking more shots, and I feel like that's somewhere that I can help the team out. And I also think that just my overall game, my shooting, I got to work on it and get better.
Keep it in the first row.
Edge, do you have plans to come back to Hawk Hill next year, or have you not made that decision yet?
Yeah, my mind is already made up. I'm coming back. Yeah.
Any more questions for the student athletes? Down here in the first row.
For either of you gentlemen, you guys came back in the second half there. Was there anything that you guys did in the huddle to get you guys fired up and to get motivated to get that close comeback there?
Charles, why don't you start?
Well, as soon as we came back from our huddle, we were focusing on eliminating the turnovers and making sure we're getting back on defense. That was the main focus.
Yeah, I think just eliminating turnovers, like Charles said, and just playing our game, and everybody just giving a little extra of whatever that we're doing, whatever play that we're running, just having pace through every possession was one of our focus.
Any more questions for the student athletes? All right, thank you guys. You are dismissed. We will now take questions for Coach Lang. We start in the first row with Jacob.
Billy, good to see you as always. Jacob Schwartz, Voice Report. Really, all in all, what you've been through, I could honestly say this was definitely one of either the most exciting years in St. Joe's history or one of the most interesting years. You get Jordan Hall to come back. You bring in Lynn Greer as a transfer. Taylor Funk gets injured. I mean, all in all, what would you say was the highlight of this season?
I think the competitiveness. You can't, listen, you can't skip a step. I've seen this in a lot of places. And so as I say, it's like, first you have to admit it's painful, then you try to do everything you can to help alleviate that pain or eliminate it. But when you look at it and then you have to keep the perspective of where it was, to me, I take from it that it's competitive. I mean, again, it's like somebody's exciting, somebody's it's interesting, somebody's it's disappointing. I don't get into the narratives. That's for everybody else. For us, the messaging is consistent every day. We want to compete for the story of St. Joe's basketball. If we want to be a perennial program, first you have to play in 30 games and be in them. And so outside of one game, we have been in every game. That's a big step for us. These two guys, grew a lot. Their roles changed, so it's exciting just to see them up here and carrying themselves the way they did. But I'm going to take from this the endurance and the competitiveness of the group, and then that's going to propel us forward. I'm very confident in that.
Want to keep it in the first row?
Hey, Coach, Nick Moritz from Major Manage. Just talk about Charles' play today. You set so many career highs.
Yeah.
How can you build off this for the season?
CJ has had an interesting journey since joining college. He was essentially injured all of last season. He comes to St. Joe's, he gets injured again, and so you can't build his body. So I think the way that you build off of this is, one, we think he's good. He's got to be consistent. So we got to get his body right so he can become a better athlete on the floor and then have, more stamina to continue to do this game after game and practice after practice.
Move back to the second row with Glenn.
Yeah, Glenn Papazian, Philly.
Hey, Glenn.
Philly. And can you talk about the contributions you got from Educate and Charles? It looks like they provided so much over the middle part of the game for you.
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking about it walking in here. The challenge with right now where we are, like this at this point in this game, it's going to improve as we move forward, is we need to bring them out to alleviate the pressure on our guards, whether it's, hitting them and then coming back and getting it or coming all the way up the floor to screen. Like they've carried a huge task here over the last month, because they've had to help our guards, which we don't have many of them at this current spot, but that's improving. And so then they got to get back into play, and then you try to get them the ball. So their contributions on that end are more than a normal front court player would have to do. But they did it. They did it. And so I'm proud of that effort. Defensively, they take up a ton of space. They got to protect the paint. Then they got to get on Clifton Moore. He makes 2 threes tonight. Ray makes 2 threes. And so they're constantly competing on that end. I think where their greatest contribution was for us over the last month of the season, in particular in the period of time you're talking about, which is when we got back in the game, is they were helping alleviate the pressure on our guards.
Any more questions for Coach Lang? Jacob?
You go on a 9-0 run to open up that second half. What do you say to your guys in the locker room?
Sometimes to get everything you want, you got to give everything you got. And so the definition of everything is in the eye of the beholder, right? And so I just felt like they had more everything in them. That's just the motivational piece. On the second piece of it, we did some stuff, on our off-ball defense that just crowded it up a little bit more. We died a little bit on the focus on that towards the end due to fatigue. And then we had to play at a faster pace. I mean, that edge mentioned it. Like, we could not jog or walk the ball up the floor because it allows Brantley and Brickus and Gill, who are very good on-ball defenders, particularly versus us, to get set. And so, just those two things. It's not anything great, but again, we've done that all year. We've had that competitiveness all year, so I had no doubt that the guys would fight and get ourselves back a chance.
Any more questions for Coach Lang? All right, Coach, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.